Hey guys, sorry for the late video. I had a lot of work to do today, and then I had a bunch of errands I had to run this evening. Just got back from Walmart, and if you think we are not already living in a third world country, you need to go to a Walmart. Go observe for yourself where America is today. I'm at Walmart tonight. I hear multiple languages being spoken. I'm witnessing people using EBT cards, WIC, buying their food because so many people are so reliant on government subsidies. And if you don't believe it, go to your local Walmart and see it for yourself. You've got people there walking around in slippers, in their pajamas. It's a real freak show at Walmart. So that is over. But I think it's a good dose of reality, and every once in a while, if you get a chance, you should do it. Observe with your own two eyes what America is turning into, because this is just the beginning. So I'm home now, safe and sound, and I wanted to make a quick video regarding some of the things happening right now. Apple stocks plunge 8%. U.S. futures right now are down 351 points. I think tomorrow is going to be a rough day in these markets with the news of Apple, looking at the U.S. futures, and there's just a lot of other things that I think are going to dictate what happens tomorrow. Stocks slide after OCC unexpectedly says U.S. banks well positioned for crisis. This just came out on Zero Hedge tonight. And so when you listen to what the OCC is saying, it is eerily similar to what Steve Mnuchin just said less than 10 days ago. And so this may rattle the market tomorrow, because after Steve Mnuchin's statements, it really rattled the markets. The OCC is saying the same exact thing, almost word per word that Steve Mnuchin said. So again, why is everybody so concerned about liquidity with banks? And all we hear is that they're well positioned and very liquid, that everything's going to be okay, that don't worry, they can handle any crisis. That should scare you right there. White House meeting today ends without shutdown deal. New meeting scheduled. So this, again, is not going to help the markets tomorrow. We're on a government shutdown. It's going on longer than I think most people already expected. And Trump says it's going to go on even longer, and it may go on a long time. So he's ready to deal with it. Luxury real estate crash. One of America's most expensive mansions sells for 73% below asking price. This is also on Zero Hedge this evening. I don't know if you can see that. This was in Hillsborough Beach, Florida, and this house sold 73% below asking value. Canadian mortgage credit growth drops to 20-year low, signaling the end of the housing boom in Canada. So we have a lot of Canadians out here right now. The conversion rate, I think, is about 27%. So it's going to get tougher and tougher now for Canadians to come here and buy second homes here in the Palm Springs area. So that's affecting the real estate market here in Riverside County, Palm Springs. And this is just the beginning. 2019. January 2nd, these are the things already starting to happen. I predict we're going to have a very rough day in these markets tomorrow. What we saw today was nothing more than serious market rigging. This market was down 400 points this morning, turns around, and at the very last second, while the bell is ringing, they pop this thing up 18 points. So somebody please comment below how and what propelled the Dow Jones today to be negative 400 and close out 18 points up. What was the good news? What was the positive news that propelled the Dow Jones to turn a negative 400 into a positive 18? So if somebody could please comment and write in about that, I'm open to hear what you think about that. Asian markets last night were destroyed. They suffered the worst start since 2016. We've got more bad news. And again, why the markets, while the U.S. markets were up today, while the Dow Jones was up today, I have no idea. U.S. manufacturing PMI plunges to a 15-month low. Manufacturers reported weakened pace for expansion at the end of 2018, and they're growing less upbeat about 2019 expansion. So that's not a good sign yet. The markets were up today. Dow Jones was up. There's a few things going into 2019 that we know, and this doesn't seem to affect the Dow Jones at least, but the debt bubble is going to continue to grow as we just added another $1.4 trillion to the debt bubble in 2018. We're going to see continued volatility in these markets as we saw today. Major volatility again today to start out the year. More retail stores will be closing in 2019. Sears just announced it will be closing 80 stores this March 2019, resulting in thousands of people losing jobs. We can expect to see unemployment rising in 2019 as we see stores like Sears and other retailers closing shop. We're going to see banks closing. We're going to see multiple retailers closing. And we're going to see companies in general closing around the U.S. And we're going to see a rise in unemployment. Here's a big killer. And nobody really seems to discuss this on any of these financial shows, but the student loan debt is going to continue to grow throughout 2019. The bubble is getting even bigger as we speak. Americans have borrowed $1.5 trillion to earn degrees of questionable use. The average student loan debt is $40,000. The U.S. Department of Education guarantees 90% of that debt. That means that you, the taxpayer, and myself, guarantees that debt, that if that debt is not paid back by the borrower, that student loan, that student defaults on the debt, you and I are responsible for that money. So the American taxpayer is on the hook for these student loans. And as we delve a little deeper, student loan defaults have been creeping up the last couple years. Over 44 million Americans owe student loans. And right now, as I speak, 11.2% of these loans are delinquent. Remember, you and I are on the hook for these delinquencies. So basically, if you're 22, 23 years old, you're graduating with $100,000, $200,000 of debt, you're not going to have anything to show for it except an undergraduate degree in wood carving. So unfortunately, a lot of these young people have been duped in, bamboozled, suckered in to getting a degree because that's what they've been taught. That's what their parents told them to do. Get a degree because maybe the parents want to impress their neighbors or impress the relatives that my daughter has a degree. Most of these degrees today are worthless. These kids would be better off going to a trade school, learning how to do something than getting a degree that is just a piece of paper, worthless. These kids are working at Starbucks, they're working as waiters, waitresses, bartenders, they're working at Costco, they're working at Walmart. Wow, they owe $100,000, $200,000 on these degrees that are worthless, that they're never going to be able to pay back. So guess who the government's going to be looking to have you and I pay this tuition, these loans back, because these kids working at Starbucks are never going to be able to pay these student loans back. So the government's going to put you and I on the hook to pay this all back. We're still in a trade war with China, and this could go on months. It could go on till next year. Nobody really knows, but this is also going to put pressure on the markets. Another big thing that nobody's talking about again that I think is going to be a real crisis for America. We just had 150 illegal aliens breach our San Diego border, attacking and throwing rocks at our Border Patrol, throwing projectiles. The Border Patrol had to react by shooting tear gas and pepper spray at these invaders, pushing them back into Mexico. No major news about that. Didn't see anything on mainstream that our border patrol is being attacked by illegal aliens, that it looked like literally a war zone with all the smoke and everything going on down there. Nobody's even talking about it. But nobody wants to address the problem. As these people are coming over the fence, under the fence, and we now have more caravans coming from Central and South America on their way up here. We have over 1,000 people a day coming into this country illegally. We have ICE overwhelmed. They're dropping aliens off at churches. None of these people are ever going to come back to their court dates. So we have got so many people running around in America from multiple countries around the world. We have no idea who they are, and this is going to be very dangerous for America as we're allowing drug traffickers, human traffickers, cartels, gang members, and terrorists to walk right over this border unchecked, unvetted. There are people coming from Islamic countries into America that hate this country, who hate America. They're here to do harm to this country, yet nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to do anything about it. And I believe that we're going to see the repercussions of these open borders in the not so distant future. 2019 is going to be a mess. And a lot of people are going to blame this mess on Trump. They're going to blame the debt, the $22 trillion. That didn't happen overnight. It took decades to get to this debt. We doubled this debt from 2008 to 2018. They're going to blame Trump for the illegals and the terrorism that's going to occur in America. It's going to be his fault. Everything Trump's trying to fix, they're going to blame him for. You know, the debt bubble wasn't created by Donald Trump. The debt bubble was created by the Federal Reserve. It's going to come to a point that when we get back into a major economic crisis here in America, they're going to resort right back to what they did in 2008, and that's print money and inject these markets with quantitative easing. And while they do that, they're going to devalue the US dollar more than it already has been devalued, meaning that your dollars will buy less. And we're going to come to a point with all of this artificial injection of cash money into these systems. We're going to come to a point, and while so many countries around the world are dumping US dollars, while the world is losing faith in the US dollars, it may be the strongest currency right now because it's the least sickest kid in the hospital. But at some point, as the world keeps losing faith, when America loses faith in the US dollar and the world loses faith in the US dollar, we have major problems. You will literally be putting bricks of cash into a gym bag to go to McDonald's. You're going to be putting bricks of cash in a gym bag to go out to lunch, like they're doing in Venezuela. But so many people think that that can't happen to America because that can only happen to countries like Venezuela. That can only happen to third world countries. That can only happen in places like Mexico, Zimbabwe. That can't happen here just because we're America. That's how dumbed down and naive people have become here in America. They think that they're immune to what's happening around the world. Unfortunately, America is the greatest debtor nation in the world. And I think we have some of the most dumbed down, naive in the entire world right here in America. Again, just go to Walmart. See for yourself what is walking around in America. See what people's priorities really are in America. See if anybody knows the price of a barrel of oil today, an ounce of silver, an ounce of gold, what the Dow Jones closed at. See if anybody in a Walmart can answer any of those questions. And I would fathom to believe that 99.9% of them couldn't. But you could go to an NFL stadium or a basketball stadium and ask the same questions, and I would probably say most people there could not answer some of the most simple economic questions you ask them. Most people in this country probably don't even know who the vice president is. That's where we're at as a country, and it's really scary. And that's why we're going to pay a severe price. Our education system's been destroyed, our culture's being destroyed, our history's being destroyed. And if you think that this is just going to be fixed overnight and that we're going to get off the hook without any pain, you're sadly mistaken. America is going to go through severe pain because we are broke, we're dumbed down, and we become narcissistic and naive, and we're going to pay a huge price for that. You know, when people realize that that dollar isn't buying anything, they're going to lash out. They're going to lash out at other people like you. They're going to lash out at property. They're going to lash out at the police. They're going to lash out at the president. They're going to blame everybody but themselves. Who they really should blame are their politicians. They should be blaming the Federal Reserve, the central banks that created all this. But while they were playing video games, smoking weed 3 times a day, going out on weekends and partying, playing fantasy football, watching the Kardashians, their 401ks were being robbed. Their Social Security was being robbed. Their future in their country was being robbed. And all people do is stand by and allow it to happen because they have other priorities. And America apparently isn't one of the priorities. People want to just, I guess, live paycheck to paycheck or live off the government dole because they certainly don't care about getting ahead. People don't want to have a net worth. They just want to live on credit. They just don't understand that when tomorrow comes, they're going to be economic casualties. These people have no idea what can happen in a country. They haven't been to a third world country where people are starving. Look at the people in Venezuela eating cats and dogs, breaking into the zoos and eating zoo animals to survive. When credit freezes up, as rates go up, as people's dollars buy less, when people get hungry, you're going to see violence in America unlike you have ever seen in your entire life. I remember the LA riots. That will be kindergarten to what is going to happen in America. Could you imagine if half the urban cities in America were rioting? How about if 75% of them? How about all of them? You will only be able to rely on yourself. You can't rely on the police. They're going to be too busy. They have families to take care of also. The government, they can't fix anything. You're going to be on your own. And again, this is why I always recommend that you are purchasing hard assets like silver and gold. The dollar is devaluing. The dollar is in its final days. Maybe not today or tomorrow, but it may be in its final years. We don't know. But we could see huge devaluation in the dollar in 2019. We could see it's competing with new currencies, global currencies, cryptocurrencies. The dollar isn't going to be here forever. Silver and gold is always going to be here. Hard assets. You look at the markets this year, they got destroyed. Wealthy people were buying wines, they were buying diamonds, they were buying art, they were buying cars, they were buying land. They were buying hard assets. They were buying gold. They were buying silver. They're putting their money into assets. They got out of paper. A lot of these people are already out of the markets. They're taking that monopoly money and they're buying stuff like this. They're buying hard assets. Honestly, I would much rather, if I was a multimillionaire billionaire, I would much rather be investing in art than in stocks. I would definitely be buying silver and gold, not paper stocks. These people know what's coming. A lot of them are already out. And one thing that they know is coming also is violence. And so people are going to lash out. It's going to be a very violent time. They're going to figure out that they've been played, that they've been duped. They put all their faith and trust into the banks, into the government, into the markets, into their 401ks. They put all their faith and trust into an illusion. And when they find out that the true value of their stocks, the true value of their 401ks and their money markets, when they find out the true value of a lot of their assets, they're going to be devastated. They're going to be angry. They're going to find out that this whole thing, I don't know how you cannot figure this out already, this whole thing has just been artificially injected and built up. This thing has no foundation. And as long as people were doing well the last 10 years with this fantasy, this illusion, everything was okay. But how can you have real markets when all this was based on quantitative easing, money printing, corporate buybacks, 0% interest rates? If you took all that away, where would these markets be today? Wouldn't even be close to where we're at right now. Yet people have been drinking the Kool-Aid for over a decade. They forgot about 2008. Bailouts aren't going to help this time. Not going to help. You cannot continue to print and borrow money to buy yourself out of debt. There is going to be a time where we have to pay the piper, and I truly believe we are getting closer to that time. 2019, I think, is going to be one of the most radical years we've ever seen in America, socially and economically. And if you're not preparing right now, if you haven't already prepared, I don't know what you're waiting for. This stuff is still $15.50. You know, while everything is just getting hammered, while these bank stocks, these home builders are getting devastated, tech stocks getting destroyed, this stuff right here, this stuff's been doing really, really well. But this stuff doesn't do anything until these markets come tumbling down. When there's panic in the streets, when the markets implode, when this whole house of cards comes tumbling down, you're going to thank God you have this, because you're going to see this stuff go to the moon. Silver and gold. This is your lifeline, okay? Of course, you better have food, you better have water, and you better have guns, because it's going to get ugly. If this stuff goes to $500 an ounce, if it goes to $200 an ounce, it goes to $1,000 an ounce, you're living in a time in America that is going to be the most dangerous time in our history. And you better be able to protect yourself and protect your assets. I think tomorrow we're going to see a lot of things happening. I think January is going to be a big month. I think 2019 is going to be just an enormous year where we're going to see some volatile things happening in our country, financially and socially. Remember, we have a very divided country. We have the Democrats coming in now, and they're going to cause havoc and attack this president. Do you think that's really going to help the country? They're going to continue to divide this country. They're going to continue to want to impeach this president, and by doing so, they are warming this country up to a civil war. If this president is impeached, I can promise you, you will see a civil war in America. If this president is assassinated, you will see a civil war in this country. If this president arrests Hillary Clinton, the Comeys, the Eric Holders, the Obamas, if he starts indicting these people on the left who committed treason to America, you're going to see Antifa, you're going to see the radical left committing violence throughout this country. So you're going to see fireworks. You're going to see things in America beginning in 2019. This is the year where I think everything gets set off. And I can't really predict any more than that. That's what I feel. But all I can say is, from one American to another, please prepare every way possible. 2019 is the beginning to a possible reset here in America. And there's going to be a lot of pain felt in this country, 2019 and maybe beyond. So prepare, and don't be paranoid, just be prepared. Live life to the fullest, enjoy life, enjoy your family, your friends, stay close to God. Let's make the most out of this. This is the most exciting time to be alive. This is a time for patriots and people who love this country to step up and do what you have to do to protect this country, the greatest country on earth. Listen, you may not like this president, you may hate this president, but if this president fails, America is going to fail. And let me tell you what's coming if America fails. It's going to be socialism and communism. We need to support this president. We need to be saying our prayers for this country, and we need to be staying close to God, because we, I believe, are beginning a tribulation in America right now. And you need to pick what side you're going to be on. Are you going to be on the left with the socialists and the communists? Or are you going to be on the right with the people who are willing to die for this country, who love this country, who respect this country, and want to see America come back to where it should be, the leader of the free world? We need free markets. We need a free country. We've lost too many rights, too many freedoms already. We need to reverse course and bring America back to what it was intended to be, free. Listen, guys, I will talk to you very, very soon. God bless. Have a great week. Make sure to subscribe. And I appreciate all the subscriptions, all the nice letters, the donations. I appreciate all that. Remember, hit the bell so that whenever a new video comes out, it will alert you. Go ahead and share the video. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Get the word out to your family, your friends, your churches, to anybody. We have got to wake people up. We are coming into probably about the 7th inning here, and we're running out of time. We cannot lose America. God bless you guys. I'll talk to you very soon.